those rooms find you. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is no one that is going to get in these rooms just by pure talent. When you work with celebrities, it really is like how you make them feel. It's not all about the glitz and glam. It's truly that safety that they feel at the end of the day when they're in the room with you.
If you're expecting, planning, or just love all things baby, you need to check out the Prego Expo in New York City. This is the ultimate event for modern moms and moms-to-be, featuring top baby brands, expert advice, giveaways, and everything you didn't know you needed. Grab your girlfriends, bring your bump, and make a day of it. Make sure to use code Samantha20 for 20% off your tickets. I'll see you there. Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Slinsky, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today, we're diving into the glamorous, creative, and beautiful world of makeup artistry with the incredibly talented Stephanie Powers. Stephanie is a New York City and East Coast-based celebrity makeup artist with over 15 years of experience across editorial, film, and high-profile campaigns. She has worked in fast-paced, high-pressure environments, from major advertising projects to collaborations connected to professional sports, and she brings a rare blend of artistry, psychology, and humanity to every face she touches. Over the last few years, her work has reached a deeply personal audience for so many parents through projects involving Miss Rachel, a name that likely needs no introduction in your household. But what makes Stephanie's work stand out isn't her resume, it's her intention, her ability to make people feel confident, seen, and truly themselves. Today, we're talking about her journey, the psychology behind beauty, how motherhood has shaped her work, and what it really means to create a space where trust matters. So without further ado, let's welcome Stephanie. Welcome.
Thank you very much. That was so kind. That meant the world.
So excited. I love following all of your adventures on Instagram and social media, and you just do such a beautiful job with your work. And I'm excited to ask you
Yeah.
for tips for myself too.
Thank you very much. I'm really happy to be here. And I love following your journey as well. Truly.
Thank you. You're so sweet. Before we talk makeup, we start each episode with our wine, and win of the week segment. This is where we share a favorite bottle of wine or drink, vent about something that's been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So, Stephanie, what is your drink of the week?
I love this. I am not a big drinker, but I was going to have some wine. If I had wine, it would be a Cab Sav. That is my wine of choice. And my husband was making coffee. So I was like, I'm going to make an iced drink. And I did put some chocolate Baileys in it that I had left over from the holidays. So I
I
was like,
love that.
if we're doing this, I'm going to do it. It's been a long week. The kids having off school is a lot.
Well, and then the snow this weekend
Hmm.
was just, as I was telling you earlier, like I was trapped inside all weekend, just nowhere to go.
Yes, yes.
So besides the snow, what's your complaint wine of the week?
My wine of the week, honestly, would have a little bit to do with business. It just, everybody wants me the same day. You could have off, it's a little secret I'm going to say in this business, but you could have off like 4 days in a row. 3 different people is going to ask you for that one same day. So that's my complaint right now of
Yeah,
the week.
I'm sure that's super hard with like trying to or wanting to
Yeah.
get everybody in, and then you're like, "Ugh, I can't."
You wish you could split yourself in so many ways. In
Yeah.
life too, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. So what's your win of the week?
Win of the week would be scoring a new cool client. Yeah. So that
That's
was,
awesome.
yeah, that happened an hour ago. You just never know.
Yeah. That is probably also such a really fun part of your job because you have such a resume and like this person just tells this person and then they like reach out to you and you're like, probably get a lot of really cool out of the blue things, which is something I would like love.
Yeah, it's crazy. It has its major good things, but then it also has like some faults because sometimes I don't know my jobs within 24 hours sometimes.
Yeah, that's probably
So
stressful.
yeah, it can be really stressful that way.
So the running wine mom, we talk a little fitness. What's your favorite way to stay active?
Definitely my job, believe it or not, is pretty active. We're on our feet all the time and our equipment is heavy. So I stay active. I am really big on like being active with my mind as well. So I really love yoga. I love like at home Pilates. So I try to really incorporate that into my life and just a lot of meditation. believe it or not. A
Yeah.
lot of mental anything I can do that's some breathing in my life and calmness after the
Yeah.
chaos sometimes.
And so how, you kind of just explained that, but my next question I always ask is the relationship of mental health and physical health. How do you kind of connect the two of those?
I think that it's huge. I think it's huge. I don't feel that you can get yourself in physical health without mental health. And I know this as somebody who has struggled with weight her entire life. I'll just put it out there. I had sleeve
Yeah.
surgery. Gosh, now I think it's been 9 years ago. So it's
Wow.
something I still struggle with. It's something mentally I struggle with because my mood depends on what I want to eat. My
Yeah.
days depend on if I'm going through a drive-through. Still to this day, it's just still a constant struggle. So I need to have my mind right every day to go forward on a health journey just as much as a career path, motherhood, all of the above.
Yeah, and I totally relate to that. Like yesterday, I had been doing so good in January, and then yesterday, again, like day 3 inside the house, I was like, "You know what? I'm just eating what I want today." And
Yes.
mentally, I hadn't worked out. I was just not in a good spot, and if I could drive, I would have gotten McDonald's yesterday.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I know. And sometimes that's okay too.
Yeah. Um, so let's talk a little parenthood. Tell us about your family.
So I am a mom of one and I have a daughter. She's 9. She'll be 10 in May. And my husband and I have been together 22 years and
Wow.
married almost 17. And I love him to death and I love our little family and it's chaotic every day. They always say like, "Oh, I always feel like I hear that like, oh, you should try having 2 or 3 or whatever." Sometimes one is just as hard.
Yeah,
So
it will.
we deal with all the emotions, all of the hormones young at this age. I feel
Mhm.
like it's a lot, but she's everything. I went through 5.5 years of IVF for her.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
she was my
amazing.
one and only frozen embryo. So
Wow.
one and only embryo of 5.5 years I ever made that was viable. So yeah, it's pretty
So
amazing. That's
special.
her.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is. I mean, that's like she's meant to be in your life, and one is
Yeah.
plenty, that's what were you least prepared for in parenthood?
Well, at least prepared for, it's funny now that it's, every single year is so different. But
It
9.
is.
And then I look back at, like, the younger years where they were so hard, they were not hard. They were not hard. I don't care what anyone says, they were the most those years were just like, hold on
Right.
to them tight. They were not hard. So I think I wasn't prepared for school.
Yeah.
I was
Well,
not
I
prepared to be school mom. I'm not gonna lie.
we are in preschool, and, like, mine's in pre-K 4 and 3, and they have very minimal projects or, like, stuff like that, but I'm like, I don't wanna be doing their homework with them every night,
My
or, and I'm
gosh.
sure balancing everything is just so hard, and
Yes. Yes. And mine loves school and she's very good, but it's math is a nightmare. And I am an artist at the end of the day, and so I just can't comprehend it. And I
you're
just
using a
shut
different part of
off.
your brain, yeah.
Yeah, thank goodness for my husband when it comes to math because I can't do it.
Yes, I'm not ready for the math. So what do you think your parenting style is?
I think it's relaxed. I
Mhm,
do. I think it's pretty relaxed. I think, but we can be definitely strict at times.
mhm.
I, expect things out of my child and different things like that. I think that are very important. And also, we need to have that structure. But I think that I'm relaxed because she's a good kid. So
Yeah, that's nice.
I think that's
You
a
can trust her.
big thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's one piece of advice you would give to other parents?
A good piece of advice that I would give to other parents. I think honestly, a few things, but one, not having so much mom guilt. And I don't want to say parent guilt. I don't want to say dad guilt and stuff like that. I really want to say mom guilt because I think that we are brought up with this. I think that we probably had moms that we seen them having mom guilt a lot. So I think,
Yeah.
going out with your friends or things like that. And even if your like spouse wants to give a little bit of attitude or a hard time because they need to do it on their own,
Mhm.
I think it's really important. And also showing commitment to your children, meaning we still hug and kiss in front of her. We show commitment. We started marriage therapy a year ago and we're not quiet about it. At first, we were talking about, oh, we're just going to a meeting and we do it online and we're just going to a meeting. No. Now we tell her, and it's brought her more mind about, like, we tell her we wanted to work on ourselves. This is maintenance, and each other. And I think just being honest with your children when big things are happening like that is important too.
I love that you guys do that, and I think it would bring so much less guilt into adulthood for, like, people in general if they know, like, my mom did this and she was open and proud of it,
Yeah,
and that's okay for me to do too, rather than you just think everything's perfect and then you're in this marriage and you're like, "What? My parents
exactly.
didn't have these problems, but they did. They just
Yeah,
didn't share it with you."
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think
That's
it
awesome.
teaches her growth, because people
Mhm.
grow and people are different. After 22
Yeah.
years with him, we're
Oh, yeah.
different.
I was just gonna say, and for like, hopefully you're not the same person you were 22 years ago.
Exactly.
That's important too.
Yeah.
And learning to figure that out with that person is very important. And I love that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
all right, so let's get into you. You have had an incredible makeup journey in the industry you're in. What initially drew you to makeup artistry, and how did you have a background in psychology? Is that what I read? And then, so how did those kind of merge and into your approach?
It's so funny. My mom is licensed cosmetologist and she's taught every school in East Coast and she was an educator. I remember going to the New York hair shows with her when I was a child and I just was like really drawn to makeup because I think it was a little bit about like, oh, I don't want to do exactly what my mom does kind of thing.
Right.
But I also had in my mind I come from a military, family as well. I also kind of had in my mind that wasn't gonna be the most sustainable career. So I was like, I was doing makeup kind of like for proms and different things like that and realized I was good at it. I was also really bullied. So I did makeup on myself to mask myself. And I felt so good. And I just remember getting that like first compliment in school or something when I had makeup on. So I got into it that way, but then I was going to go to school for nursing, dropped out of nursing school, finished psychology, and then I was working in corporate as like an underwriter for insurance and
Wow.
for about 16 years. And I was doing makeup on the side during that time. I was working at Mac. I actually built a pretty well-known wedding business at the time. And I had met my husband. Through these things had come just a different career path because I wanted to have a child and we were having issues. So honestly, all of that being said, because I know it's long winded and it's always a story to get here, but I think like my journey really started when I really had my child and I was like, I'm never going back to corporate America. I'm really going to
Right.
focus on. I thought I was going to do weddings. I thought I was going to open a spa. I thought I was going to do all these different things that I'm actually doing now. So that was 9 years ago that I became full time. And it's been a journey since with that.
Yeah.
And yeah, go ahead. I know that
No,
was
I was
long
gonna say,
winded.
like, no, I love it. I have so many questions to go with it. Like, how did you end up then in New York City all the time
I know,
outside of the wedding?
crazy. I honestly I ended up in New York City, I think more because of I ended up signing on with an agent about 3 years ago. I, decided to put myself out there. Also, 3 years ago, I met, like, one of my biggest clients, and it was becoming, like, a more regular thing, and I reached out to an agency that I always wanted to be with and started freelancing. So I started freelancing a lot more in New York that way and just putting myself out there. I think that one thing I feel like people get scared of to do in this industry is actually like cold call and reach out to people and put yourself out there and think that people are going to come hand you things. No one's doing it. So you just got to advocate
Mhm.
for yourself. And I honestly, truly, that's what happened. I think it's really funny because most of the jobs that I've gotten and most of the people I've met have really been referrals. It's been
Mhm.
the craziest of people who have sat in my chair, the craziest people I have met, whether it be a stylist on set or an actor on set or, a CEO of a company. It's just kind of weird how it all kind of
They're all
happens. Yeah. It's
yeah.
never going to be that like aha moment. Never.
Right.
Like, people truly think, like, people are like, I think advice that I'd want to give people too is like, what are you waiting for? Everyone's kind of
Right.
waiting, like, oh, I'm waiting for that okay, or I'm going to know
Mhm.
when the new moment feels right. I promise you, you're not.
Right.
You're not.
Yeah. I can everything you're saying, like, can also just be parallel to, like, anything in life. Like,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people think, like you just said, someone's gonna call them up one day and say, "Hey, I want you to come to New York City and do this, big person's makeup," and then everyone in the industry is gonna call you. Like, there's a lot more behind the scene
Yeah.
things that are going on. I think cold calling is I think that's what I did to you to get get you on
I
my,
love it.
podcast, cold message you.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So kinda to go with that, when people hear celebrity makeup artists, they picture this big glamorous, life, which it is glamorous, but what's something about your work that people would be surprised to maybe learn about?
I think that a lot of people do. I think that is probably why a lot of people can't get, I don't want to be like, oh, people can't get in those rooms, or people, those rooms find you. And what I
Mhm,
mean by that is there's no one that is going to get in these rooms just by pure talent. It really is, when you work with celebrities, it really is like how you make them feel. It's not all about the glitz and glam. It's like truly like that safety that they feel at the end of the day when they're in the room with you. That vibe, you have to be good under pressure. And like, can I curse on this podcast as well?
yeah, yeah, you can
Okay,
say
like
whatever.
one of my like favorite things that my best friend always says, and it's so true. We always say, like, I don't shut the fuck up. Like my whole life I haven't shut the fuck up, but I know when to shut the, I know when it's not about me. I know when I'm there to do a job, and you wouldn't believe it. Like you would think like, oh, people, don't already know all of this. I promise you they don't. Some people come in there and have headphones in their ears the whole time working with people. Right. Some people will come there and talk about like what they did last night on a
Mhm,
date, or like whatever. Like they think it's important to be seen. It's really
right.
not. It's important to do your job and make sure that, I will also promise this, they know you're there. So there's many times on set that it's not glamorous and you were sitting in a room. I had a job last week, really big job last week, and I sat in a room. Couldn't see the photo shoot. I have no idea what the person looked like on screen. Kind of freaks me out, but like I just had to
Right.
sit in a room for an hour in case they needed touch-ups. So people don't see that either. It's not always, going to be what you have. No expectations
Yeah.
is a big one too, but also just know how to be in a room. Just be a good vibe in a room. I think that energy is the most important thing over talent.
Mhm.
Energy is really
And
important.
and I think you posted a video kind of about that, like, a week or so ago, like, the most important thing is knowing how to work with people and being easy to work with, and that doesn't necessarily I was thinking about it, it doesn't mean, like, yeah, you're like a doormat person to work with, but, like, just like you said, a lot of people just want to be heard, and they don't need you coming in talking about yourself, and, I think that is probably I think that's an underrated thing for a lot of people in this world.
It is. And I think that it's something I still work on. And if I were to be honest, it's something that like I know that my throat chakra is so, heavy, and I want to get everything out, that sometimes I need to learn to listen. Because
Right.
sometimes when I actually just listen, like if you were to just listen, you're going to do your job much better.
Yeah.
And if sometimes it is just sitting back and listening to, it's about what that client wants at the end of the day. And if
Yeah.
they want you to just shut up, sometimes you just got to shut up.
Be quiet. The podcast actually taught me how to listen and not be an active listener, because I feel like I in the beginning when I started doing this, I would always try to respond and like, "Yes, uh-huh, okay, uh-huh," and this and that, and then now I try to I mean, I can't be quiet 'cause just like you, I don't like to shut the fuck up either, but so I have this, but, I try a lot harder, and, like, in the real life, I'm quiet and people are like, "Are you listening to me?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just listening to
Listening.
you. I'm actually listening."
We're not used to it.
Yeah, I know. So was there a project or a moment where you did feel like your career shifted from you're building this to you have become this?
There were moments. I don't think there's ever a moment. I think there's moments and I think there's still moments. I think that funny, I think you and I discussed it, but I get nervous. I get nervous to do things. I get nervous anytime I have a new client. I get nervous to work with clients I've worked with 10 times. So I think at the end of the day, it's moments. And it's been some really amazing moments. I think a few of them that I feel like could be like a little funny that I could talk about is one. There was an NFL player, and my mother-in-law was like, "Oh, they had a baby." And I was like, "Great, they had a baby." They sit down in my chair. I'm like, "Congratulations on your baby." He says, "What baby?" I'm really sorry. I know nothing about football. I really know nothing about football. Like, I work with a lot of NFL players, a lot of NFL things. I know nothing. So we had a day together and ended up being, I blamed it all on my mother-in-law because it was her fault. It ended up being Jason Kelsey that had the baby. So it was like, it ended up being like, it was somebody on the team at least. But when I seen that player a year later, he had said hi to me and he had remembered me because of that moment. So it was something that always stuck with me where I was like, I deserve to be in those rooms too.
You
It
do,
was one of
for
those
sure.
moments where I was like, I thought that that would be like the worst moment, like end of your career, like not end of your career, but like
Yeah, but like
very embarrassing, like shitty moment. That person just took it in stride and was like, "What's up, girl?" Like,
yeah.
still no baby, but hi, like, kind of thing. But I
My
truly think that
gosh.
that moment, it was an embarrassing moment. I think that moment just being kind of known by him and being remembered by him, I should say, in a room full of people that went and looked at me like, oh my God, that person knows Stephanie. It was a moment where I was like, yeah,
It
he
was
does know
cool, yeah.
me. I was an
Yeah.
idiot, but it was a little bit of a memorable,
For what he knows me for, who cares? He just
right.
knows me, you know what I
Yes.
mean? I love that.
We're besties now forever, if anyone asks.
Oh my gosh, that is fun. That's fun though, that's awesome, and then you just gotta roll with it.
Yes.
So, let's shift a little bit to makeup and motherhood. As a busy mom myself I have no makeup on right now actually, but are there any beauty routines or makeup hacks that you rely on as a busy mom that maybe those moms listening could take with them?
Yeah. And it was one of the best advices in my beginning of my career. And it was the day of my wedding. And it's still one thing I take to this day. Aunts were showing up and they're Italian and they're fun. My aunt comes and she was like, "It was the craziest day, but I got my eyebrows on." You know what? Put your eyebrows on. It
I
puts it
love
all
it.
together. So I would
It really
say, put your eyebrows on. And I think that's the number one thing. You can hide the rest, just put those eyebrows
that is so funny. It does I remember when I first started, like, doing my eyebrows a little bit more, I was like, "Oh my god, I look terrible," but then all of a sudden I was like, "Wow, this finishes everything off. It makes
Yes.
you look so much better," and every time I do my eyebrows, I'm gonna think of you now.
So I would
Doing my
say that's a
eyebrows,
number
Stephanie.
one.
Yeah. How has motherhood influenced your definition of beauty and maybe like has it changed how you thought you would do clients or I know it's like a little harder because clients want what they want, but how has it kind of influenced your definition of beauty since you've
Oh,
had
I think
kids?
it's influenced my definition of beauty so much. And I think because a mother of a girl that I'm
Yeah.
bringing up, and, she's already into skincare and Sephora and all these different things at her age. But I think that it's made me more empathetic. I will say that I used to be that person, like, oh, if somebody gave me a little bit of an attitude in my chair, I would be like, like, they're a bitch or whatever. Not that I would go around and talk about, I wouldn't, but I would,
Yeah.
think about like, oh, did I do something wrong? Why were they mean to me or things like that? And I realize at the end of the day now, especially working with celebrities and higher clientele, 99% it's never me. It's never
Right.
about us, and I think it's made me more empathetic to we really never know what people are going through. I've had so many days as a mom hysterically crying before I walked into work. I have had so many times going through IVF, and even though I wasn't a mom then, I was living this mom, I felt like lifestyle then going through that. And I just remember just crying, going to work, and then just being like, as soon as I'm around a client, and no one would ever know I was going through those things. So I think it's made me very much more empathetic to the people in my chair and just, yeah, I think it has. It's made me a little bit more motherly of to my clients and their needs and listening to them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's if anyone who has become a mother does not feel that, I'm like, "What are you doing?" Because I remember after having my daughter, I, like, went to Starbucks and I was like, I have gotten no sleep. I'm, like, waiting in line. I look a mess. I'm like, new moms should be able to wear, like, "I just had a baby" shirts or something like that so people can be because I am just, like, so all over the place, and it really that was the start of me being like, "I don't know what these people maybe that person just had a baby, and they're just, like, in zombie mode right now, and they need this," or, as the kids are getting older, it's different problems, and,
Yeah.
not even kids, but just life in general.
Yeah. I actually
I
have
think
this
it's
client and she's a grandparent and she also does acting a lot, a lot. When she's not acting, she's with her and she's obsessed with them, her 4 grandchildren that are under the age of 5. So it's like
I love
she's
that.
exhausted. And you wouldn't think when, you know what I mean, a woman of her age is getting in my chair that she's exhausted from parenthood, but she is.
Right.
She's exhausted.
Yeah. So you have started with weddings, which are high performance, there's a lot of stress on those days to go to be doing major campaigns, and different collaborations. What is kind of the difference of doing the wedding day and doing celebrity with that high energy? Like, how is the energy different?
Different. I feel it's kind of crazy, but a wedding day is just so much more high stress.
Mhm.
I know people would not think that, but just I feel that constant, I know this is going to sound really kind of rude, but from the moment that contract is signed, I feel like it's a constant catering.
Mhm.
Sometimes it can get you have those brides sometimes you only talk to once a year or,
Right.
once every couple months or whatever. And then, you don't see them until the wedding day. But then you have those brides that they just want everything. And there's only so much you can do.
Right.
And it gets hard. And I think that when I can just be kind of paid to show up to a job and be myself and put my talent out there and that trust is there, you wouldn't believe it. But I really truly feel like there's this trust in the celebrity world and this world of, film and commercial because everybody has their placement. And I know that sounds strange, but you get to these sets. I'll use a TV set as an example. Everyone has their placements. You have your grips, you have your, your producers, you have your hair and makeup. Everyone has their placements. When it comes to like the wedding industry, I feel like there's sometimes this competition, like, who's that in the room with you? Or it's this just
Right.
a different like vibe, or like
Mhm.
one's working with the bride and then the other ones are working with the bridesmaids. So there's this hierarchy. And then you find out that that person's making 5,000 and their people are making $50 a head. And yes, this is
Yeah.
true. So those are things that I cannot get down with the wedding industry. I
Mhm.
don't feel it's okay to be taking 40 and 50% off of freelancers and people that are working under you. And those are things that I like to show up and do my job, but I think it's important to get paid for your work. And I think it's important
Yeah.
when you get into a certain place, that's kind of where I am. And I'm not knocking anyone with wedding businesses. I think that
Yeah.
people need to get their bag and treat their people good. And I think they do. But there are some that I'm like, it's just kind of made a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah, and that does make a lot of sense because before I asked the question, I imagine they're similar, but as you just described, like, it's a lot more structured in a on a TV set because it has to be.
Yes.
and you're there and someone's there and it's like scheduled differently rather than the emotions that kind of go into a wedding day.
Well, Virgo, I absolutely love structure. So I like to know what
Not
I'm going
surprised,
into
yeah.
that day, which you do on a wedding, but you also are like, no, there's all these times and everything that can get messed up and,
Yeah.
things like that. It gets
Yeah.
hard.
So I have to ask about your collaborations with Miss Rachel. She was a
Yeah.
staple in our kids. I mean, I actually before I came down, I said, they're like, "Who are you interviewing? Who are you interviewing?" I said, "Well, Miss Stephanie." I was trying to tell them. They're like looking at me because they're 3 and 5. I was like, "She's friends with Miss Rachel," and they're like, "Miss Rachel? Oh my gosh!" But I mean, she taught my kids how to talk, literally. I mean, I really do truly believe that in my soul that she is the reason that they're such good speakers because we just had it on all the time for them. That was their only screen. So
Beautiful.
anyway, how did you guys connect? And how did this opportunity come about?
It's my favorite story to tell, truly. I did a friend's wedding who is a model who was a muse of mine and I used for many photo shoots for years. And I did her wedding and I met one of her bridesmaids. And years later, I get a phone call from this amazing stylist out in Arizona who grew up with Rachel. She
Oh
grew up
my
with Rachel.
gosh.
I can say her name. Her name is Risa, and she's an amazing, amazing stylist. And she grew up with Rachel. They have been friends since they were little. And she called me because she was friends with this bridesmaid who I worked with years ago. And she was like, my friend is going on GMA and, she's getting really big with YouTube. She's amazing. I'll never forget. She was like, she's really popular if you're 3 and under. And it's one of my like favorite things that Risa said to me. It was like, we connected right away. She cracked me up. And I went and I worked with Rachel. I knew nothing about her. I didn't even Google her at the time. So I think if I Googled her, I may have been a little bit more nervous.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I will honestly say it was the most comfortable I've ever felt with a client in my entire life, to the point where I don't want to get emotional, but I hysterically cried the first time I ever worked with her. Here I am going to cry.
My God.
Right. So now I
That
cry
I
over
mean,
everything she does, and it's completely insane. But she really, truly does. Like, it's the way you see her with children, she is like that with people. And it was like, she wanted to know about me. And it was like things I was going through in life 3 years ago. And it was like, she cared so much. But the funniest part about it is me calling my husband on the way home and being like, I bombed it. Bomb. Never working with her again. It's never happening. Never happening. I did finally Google her. I think I went to the parking lot after I cried in her arms. No, we had a great
my God.
appointment. She looked beautiful. I cried. And I went in the car and Googled her and I was like, shit.
You're like, oh my
She's not
God.
just the baby whisperer. Like, she is the baby
She
whisperer.
is the baby
She is
whisperer.
literally like Gandhi for children. So I
Yeah.
was like, oh my goodness, I'm never going to work with her again. And they called me the next week. And when I worked with her again, one of the first things she said to me is how much she loved my heart.
Wow, that's really that that is great to hear because, she was in our house for like 3 or 4 years every day. And, you never know what someone could be like, she's not like she is on YouTube or whatever,
I,
but I mean, I love that. That
yeah,
is how
she
she
truly
really is.
is
And
the most angelic, amazing person. And it's like, it's funny. You probably saw that she posted about me on Instagram. And it's like, that's
yes.
probably why I'm emotional because it's like something that was so completely unexpected. And, we have had such a connection these past 3 years. And it's like, I love her so much. And it's like, I want to always constantly just advocate for her because she truly is like, the exactly what you see in her teaching kids. I seen a kid about probably 7 months old crying in his mom's arms. And the minute he heard Rachel's voice while she was on set, he popped up. Like
Yeah.
he was freaking out in the arms and he just popped up. And it
Yeah.
just because she truly
No, I
is
agree.
that voice for children, in my opinion.
Well, I remember my kids are 18 months apart, and I think Willow was like, maybe like 20 months old. She was under 2. Parker was, like, really little. He was, like, hopping up and down in this little, like, bouncy thing, and she's cracking up laughing, and she's like, "Ha ha," going like this, and I'm like, "What the heck is she doing?" I have no idea what she's doing, and then Miss Rachel comes on, like, an hour later, and it's the, again, sign language motion that Willow was laughing so hard at Parker, telling him to do it again because she couldn't, like, verbalize it, and I was like, my god, she, like,
So cute.
learned this. Yeah, it was just, like, really cool, all the things that they've learned. And then you were able to work with her on the campaign of her toy line too. What was that like
Her toy
being
line, her books. We've had a
Yeah,
journey together. It's been absolutely amazing. I think I still pinch myself. And it's funny because it hit me, I think, when I was in California and I was just walking in Target and I just like saw a huge thing of all of the toys and the books and everything out. And I think that's when it like really hit me like, wow, like just what this has become and what she has become and just seeing all the toys and now a diaper line and
yeah.
yogurt and there it's endless at this
It's
point.
it's just it's also so funny to go back to your origin story of meeting her. Like, I feel as though, again, you like, yeah, someone on YouTube, okay, like, you could say,
Yeah.
yeah, someone on Instagram, no
Huh.
big deal,
Yeah.
and I just love that you just, like,
So
didn't
funny.
even Google it after.
Nope,
That's
didn't
awesome.
even Google her. I know, it's so funny.
My god, that's awesome. Well, I just have a couple questions about maybe art and psychology of makeup. So, social media has really dramatically changed beauty standards, from that psychological standpoint. How do you help your clients kind of navigate those trends without losing their sense of self? Like, everyone wanting to be more beautiful and better than what's on our screens that could be filtered for all we know.
I think that one of the most important things to know is like a makeup trend isn't a rule, it's a tool.
Hmm.
It's a tool to just make you better. It could make you better at lines if you're not the best at eyeliner and things like that. And I just think that like makeup is art. Have fun with it. Don't always like go by those trends because honestly, I promise you the people that sit in your chair and the people that are paying you, they don't want the trends. They want to look their absolute best, and the trends isn't what's making them look their absolute best.
Right.
So I think what matters at the end of the day is just remembering who your client is and who your client wants what your client wants at the end of the day. If you want to do trends on yourself or if you have that model friend or I would say like find a photographer. Find a photographer that you want to keep practicing and that model friend that you want to do things with and do that. Do it for free on the
Yeah.
side and really build yourself up that way if you want to practice those things. But remember, they're tools, they're not rules at all. You don't have to do anything they say you do.
Right. So, and what's one product or tool you think every makeup enthusiast should have in their kit?
I think that every single solitary makeup enthusiast should always learn skincare. I think you need to learn your skincare, and I think that is should be the basis of everything that it comes before you put anything on. So I would say moisturizer. I would say your skincare products that need to be in your kit for your clients is really important. I think a makeup enthusiast I think that could be somebody kind of at home. Another thing, if you want to like say makeup, I think really important. I would go back to like eyebrows or like mascara, like your basics. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I think for somebody who wants to be a professional makeup artist, I really think that you should brush up on your skincare and really learn people's skin before you do anything and learn products. Start learning your products. I've really done that the past couple years. I've really done the research of the ingredients that I'm putting on my clients, and I think it's very
Yeah.
important. And that's the first question that I ask. And big secret, never ask after you say hello to your client, you ask if they're allergic to anything. That should be your question. So I think it's very
Yeah.
important.
And probably forgotten, you figure in the makeup, like,
It is
world, it's not
forgotten.
like yeah,
Yeah.
serving them food. Interesting. Well, what's your favorite mascara? That's my personal question.
Ooh, Thrive. Thrive Cosmetics is amazing. It's a tubing mascara, but it doesn't flake at all. And it's
Okay.
completely natural and
Okay.
it goes to a good cause. Like all of their products is goes to good causes. So I love that one. And if you want to get drugstore, I also have a favorite, and that is an
Okay.
old
I'm
school
writing it.
L'Oreal Voluminous, and it's the gray tube
Okay.
with the gold at the top.
Okay. I am going to I'm writing it down right now because
I
I'm
love
like,
it.
I'll forget. Even though I could go back and look, I'm like, I want to write it down so after this I can figure out. All right, you've given us so many fun stories and so much great information. For a last question, looking back at everything you achieved and everything you're balancing, what would you go back and tell that girl moving from corporate to the makeup world just starting out?
To yourself. You don't need validation from anybody. You don't at all need to wait for the okay for anything. From IVF, from my career, from getting my house, from everything, I was told no before all of it. So rejection is redirection. No one in life is coming to hand you a permission slip. So issue your own damn permission slips to yourself.
Yes, I love that. Clap, clap, clap. That is a great way to end it. I love that so much. Yes, your own permission slips to yourself. That is such good. That's great. It is. Like people are afraid of no, and
Yeah.
I love that. It's
No, chase
amazing.
it.
Well,
Chase the fear.
yes, you are the perfect example of chasing that, and I love it. All right. Well, thank you, Stephanie. This was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely. So much fun. Thank you so much, Sam.
So that's going to bring us to the end of another episode of The Running Wine Mom. Again, a huge thank you to Stephanie for giving us the behind the scene look at her incredible career and sharing her wisdom on balancing creativity, professionalism, and that connection. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing, leaving a review, and sharing it. You can follow me on Instagram at the running wine mom _. And Stephanie, where can the listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Stephanie Powers Makeup. And it's, what is that little under thing? I don't
The
know.
underscore.
You'll
Yeah.
find me, Stephanie Powers Makeup.
Awesome. And I will link all of that as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, keep doing those eyebrows, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers. And I will be back next Tuesday.